Okay, one last thing about kind of general definitions of sequences before we get a little bit deeper into the weeds. We have diatonic sequences and we have chromatic sequences. Okay, so diatonic sequence means that we're going to move by step, but kind of the interval that we end up with is going to conform to our scale or our key. For example, so here we're starting on D. We're in the key of D minor, so we have a B flat. We move down by a whole step, so we start on C here. That's fine. Here we move down by a whole step, so we start on B flat. That's diatonic because that's falling into the key, right? It's also chromatic, kind of, in this case, because it's moving down by a whole step. Let's say we move down one more. Um, if we moved down from B flat to the next whole step down, if we moved to an A flat, which would continue the sequence chromatically, that would be a chromatic sequence. We would be falling out of key, but we would be sticking to the whole step down situation, right? So far, we've gone a whole step down every time. If the next one was a whole step down, it would be out of key, and we would call that a chromatic sequence because we followed the whole step truly and it pulled us out of key. If the next time we went from the B flat and instead we just went to an A natural, that would keep us in key, but it would still move us down stepwise throughout the whole thing. We would be going stepwise down the scale, which would only be a half step for our next hypothetical one. And that would put us on an A natural, which would only be a half step, but would keep us in key. So we would call that a diatonic sequence, right? So diatonic sequences might fall by step, sticking to the keys. So some of those might be a whole step, some of them might be a half step. Chromatic sequences always go by a set pattern. So whole step down, 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 which is going to get you way outside of the key really fast, right? In this short example of right here to here, we don't know yet because it's fallen into the key. There are spots when we're going to get outside of the key. And we have some elements that are outside of the key, like we have the C natural and we have the C sharp. That's okay. That's just harmonic, moving things around. But probably if we look forward, we're starting on F. Well, I think we're mostly diatonic on this. Here's some B naturals. So probably down in here we're getting a little chromatic. But just remember that distinction, right? So if you're going to move strictly by whole step down, regardless of the key, you are in a chromatic sequence. But if you're going to let the key if you're going to conform to the key, then you're in a diatonic sequence. So that's the difference between the two. Okay, let's move on to some harmonic sequences and using these suckers.